ABC 10 News at 4 starts now.
Questions surrounding a possible COVID vaccine. The federal government says it's almost ready. Many experts say it won't be ready until next year. The new steps that California is taking to make sure the vaccine is safe when it is released. Plus, the pandemic making it hard for Del Mar officials to plan next year's fair. The steps they may have to take if the virus is still spreading. And a South Bay school district gets a nearly $1 million grant, why only some schools will get a piece of the cash. We begin with the effort to prepare for the arrival of a COVID-19 vaccine. It's expected to be ready at some point in 2021, but with the process becoming so politicized, California leaders aren't ready to take the federal government's word the vaccine is safe. Good afternoon, I'm Kimberly Hunt, and today the governor unveiled a team of experts to make sure the vaccine is ready and safe. ABC 10 News anchor Vanessa Van Hefty reveals the challenges they face when this happens.
California is one of 5 jurisdictions in the country doing advanced planning for COVID vaccine distribution. Governor Gavin Newsom announcing Monday the launching of a scientific safety review work group with top health experts to independently review FDA vaccines. One of those experts is from San Diego.
Question I often get is, are you going to take someone's word for it as it relates to vaccines? Of course, we don't take anyone's word for it. We will do our own independently reviewed process with our world-class experts that just happen to live here in the state of California. Treasure trove of experts from UCLA, UCSD, San Diego, from partners that we're able with actual experience in epidemiology from Stanford University, people from UC Berkeley.
The team will work to guarantee the safety, equity, and transparency of the distribution of vaccines, but the governor says the first batches will be very limited. Moderna and Pfizer are leading the charge that will first focus on essential healthcare workers, first responders, and then to those 65 and older. The state's still hammering out massive challenges when it comes to logistics and storage, and don't expect to go down to the local pharmacy to get the vaccine anytime soon. The governor with a sobering perspective on when it will be available.
And we don't anticipate mass availability until 2021. The question for all of us is that in the first quarter, second, or third quarter of 2021? My answer to my own question is yes, yes, and yes. It just simply depends who you talk to.
The vaccine will require 2 doses spaced weeks apart. Vanessa Van Hefty, ABC 10 News.
We are reaching out to UC San Diego to request an interview with our local expert on that team to find out how they will know if the vaccine is safe. And while there are some signs of concern, state health officials say California remains one of the few states not seeing a major surge in COVID cases. There were nearly 3,500 new coronavirus cases in our state yesterday. The positivity rate is a little less than 2.5%. And while hospitalizations are going down, officials say the rate of decline is slowing, and that could indicate we're hitting a plateau. Experts say the best way to prevent the virus from spreading is to wear a mask and to social distance. Happening tonight, teachers and families will weigh in on controversial reopening plans at 2 North County school districts. Within the past 30 minutes, teachers with VISTA Unified told ABC 10 News they will not move forward with a vote of no confidence in the district's superintendent. Last week, we told you about teachers' concerns about overcrowding during the pandemic. Some called the reopening plan reckless. All students are due back in class tomorrow. Tonight in San Marcos, parents will really be trying to convince the district to have children spend more time in the classroom. Well, the current plan would only have children on campus for 2 days a week, and the rally will be at district headquarters at 5 p.m.
The pace of the second wave of COVID-19 has pushed new cases over 40 million worldwide. How about this? Cases have doubled since mid-August. And we just saw a record high for new cases in a day. Now, Europe is dealing with a surge. They're seeing more infections based on population than the United States, but overall, the U.S. still has the most cases and deaths.
Some people call it a surge. You know, I'm not sure we ever got over the second surge, but the virus has shown a really crafty way of getting into areas where we're not paying attention.
Now, amid concerns about rising cases, there's a new push to make sure you wear your mask. Research says if 95% of Americans wore masks in public, we could avoid tens of thousands of deaths before the end of this year. Right now, less than 70% of people are wearing masks. Now, the virus spreading in rural areas right now, just the way it did in larger cities at the beginning of the pandemic.
My profession, there are 12,000 of us. We don't cover all of the United States. In a smaller town, you might be a couple hundred miles from an infectious disease doctor.
Now, the main impact of wearing a mask is not infecting people around you. Dr. Daniel McQuillan says people are infectious in the days before they show any symptoms, if any at all. Just take a look at a case of Missouri hairstylists.
2 stylists did 140 clients in a week. Every client wore a mask. One of the stylists had early COVID and didn't realize it. And the only person who got infected was her coworker. And the reason that happened was because they would do lunch breaks together, take their masks off and eat and spend some time in a small room. But none of their clients got sick. And this is in a small space where we know the risk is higher.
Now, you do want to look for some new Mask Up America ads that will be online, at bus stops, billboards, and in other public gathering spots.
Just in, parts of Alaska are bracing for a possible tsunami after a major earthquake this afternoon. It struck in the Aleutian Islands and measured 7.5 on the Richter scale. The epicenter was about 60 miles off the coast of Sand Point. That's 600 miles from Anchorage. And there have been at least 2 significant aftershocks. So far, no reports of damage. Unfortunately, the area under a tsunami warning is remote. No major towns are under threat. Happening right now, police are investigating after a body was found in the Miramar area. Sky 10 flew over within the past 20 minutes. Police tell us that someone found the body along Miramar Road not far from Miramar National Cemetery. We're working to gather more information. We will pass that along as soon as we get it. Today is the last day to officially register to vote in California for the 2020 election. You can register in person during business hours or until 11:59 tonight online. After today, you'll no longer be able to register and get a ballot in the mail. However, if you miss this deadline, you still can vote. You have to register to vote provisionally and then fill out the ballot in person on Election Day. It's a conditional vote. And the registrar of voters will then verify that you are eligible before allowing your ballot to be counted. A VISTA family is grieving after 2 children were killed in a car crash coming home from vacation. Zachary and Lily Homance went to Ohio to visit with their mother and grandmother. The 4 were driving back to California when a wrong-way driver plowed into their car on Interstate 40 in Oklahoma. All 4 were killed in the crash. The driver is still alive in critical condition, and now Zachary and Lily's father and stepmother are looking for answers.
They had such a bright future, and it's been taken away by this lady, and we don't know why.
On 10 News at 5 o'clock, the heartbreaking final conversation one of the young children had with their father.
Well, let's start the news to you. The Supreme Court will look at a Trump administration policy that makes asylum seekers wait in Mexico for U.S. hearings. Case won't be heard until after the election. The policy was first introduced in January of 2019. Another immigration case the Supreme Court will hear has to do with border wall funding. The Trump administration is appealing a lower court ruling that says it improperly diverted money to build parts of the wall. This case will also not be heard until after the election. Travel restrictions will continue next month along U.S. borders. Both borders will remain closed to non-essential travel through November 21st. The head of Homeland Security did say they're looking at finding ways that they can ease restrictions in the future.